Okay, we're back over at the 1-ton arbor press, and I'm going to be doing the extrusion die technique as I mentioned. Now my extrusion dies I bought from on eBay. These are shallow. The original extrusion dies were pretty tall, a couple of inches, and what I found using them is when I pushed my coin ring down through them, since they were 2 inches deep, I kind of lost sight of what the heck was going on in there. So I noticed that Mike Still, machinist on eBay, had developed these shallower ones. So I bought a set of 5, and you can see this hole's, I forget what the actual diameters are, but it's a very slight taper, 5 or 7 degrees. I just lube the inside, press it down. When it bottoms out, I can then go to the next size, to the next size, and down. You'll see since we're going to a size 11 on this thing, we won't even use the last probably 2 or 3 of those extrusion dies. So let me just put some more of this white lithium grease on my first extrusion die. It not only helps the ring go through, but it also prevents rust, oxidation, or whatever in the humidity. It's not very humid here right now because it's winter and it's about 65 down here. So I'm just going to take my Teflon tape. Some people, there's all sorts of varieties of Teflon tape. I was out of mine, so I ended up just in Walmart yesterday and got this. It's 99 cents for 2 rolls. It's a little cheap, but a little chintzy. Some folks go with the, $1 for a roll at Home Depot. And there's apparently some thicker, better plumber's Teflon tape for gas fittings. I think it's yellow, and it's, $4 or $5 a roll. So, but you use less of it per thing, so it kind of all evens out. So if you don't want to wrap up 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Now a lot of people go with maybe even 20 or 25 wraps. I like to start with 10, and I can always add more later. Now you want to be cognizant of all this stuff on the side. If you have too much buildup of wrinkles and folds, when you press it into the extrusion die, you can end up with marks on the outside of your ring. So I'm just going to pop it in here. As I mentioned now, it's got 10 wraps of tape on it. So it fits in there pretty nicely. What I'll do is I'll put the pusher right on there. And then I'll push down until the aluminum push rods, I feel it hit the inside of this die. Now one good thing about the aluminum push rods is they're much softer than the die. So as I press down, when I feel in the arbor press that this has met the surface of this, I'm not going to mar the die at all. You might see a little bit of battle damage on these push rods over time, but I haven't noticed that it gets too bad. So again, you want to make sure it's level before you start pressing. Because of the height of my press, I'm going to put another die right under it. And let's see. I'm probably making this more complicated than it needs to be. But maybe I'll take another push rod. It's mainly because I'm sitting on my stool and I want to have the right angle for pushing my push rod through. So then we just lean on it. And I'm not putting much pressure on that. And now I can feel that it has bottomed out. Not bottomed out, but this push rod has probably hit the edge of this die. And again, there's layers and layers of that Teflon. So I'm not feeling metal on metal. So I'll just pull that out. And then the goal is now I use the next size smaller push rod in there. And I just keep going down. The trouble is, though, when I use my Teflon tape, now the Teflon tape has come off onto my push rod. And you can see the reeded edge is now bare. Now I can take that out and rewrap it. But what I will probably do this time is just wrap this push rod around the base several times. And you can see if I'm only going halfway over. Whoops, of course. Now I can push it over and, I have some protection on the bottom of that. So I'll put that in there. Put this push rod on top, just again for leverage. I'm sitting in my chair, so everything's at a different weird height. So just make sure it's level. And press again. And again, I'm not putting much weight on this, but the silver is so soft it just pushes right in. I can feel it moving, moving, moving. And then it stops. Good. And you can see it protected pretty well. And so now it's at the bottom of the die. Everything still looks okay. Pulls right out. You can see the Teflon tape has protected the detail. But it's getting a little wacky, so I'm going to just peel it off and throw it away. I'll rewrap it. But I'm going to throw it on my mandrel and see what's what. See how close or how far away I am from my target of 11. So obviously I don't want the cone shape, but I want to make sure. Okay, so I'm at a size 14-ish or so. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to wrap this up again. I'm going to put it in my next size smaller die, so I can put this one aside. And then we'll go from there. This Teflon tape, like I have a million hangnails and dry skin on my hand, so it sticks to it. It's kind of a pain, but so, and as you can see, it went through the extrusion die nice and level. Everything looks regularly shaped, evenly shaped. So we'll go ahead and wrap this up about 10 or 12 times. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And in this, not only am I worried about the reeded edge, I want to get down onto the body of the coin ring as well, because that's going to eventually start coming in contact with the inside of the die. So I want to just kind of be cognizant of getting a few wraps in there as well. And again, this Teflon tape is so cheap, you can just go crazy with it. Some people have devised these automatic tapers, but frankly, when I see their devices, and it's not a knock on them, I'm appreciative of ingenuity, but the complexity of using their automatic wrapper, by the time you use it, you could have just wrapped it with your hand. But again, it's a free country, you can do whatever you want. Okay. I've lubed it up with the white lithium grease, so now let me pop it in there. You see it fits right in, nice and level. Again, level is the key. Now I'm going to take my push rod, the one that fills up the most amount of space. And you can see I have a little bit of room all the way around this push rod. So I'll get, maybe an 1/8 or a 1/4 of an inch downward push on this before I need to switch to a smaller diameter pusher. So let's see what's going to happen here. And again, I use these spacers and stuff just to give me the right, height on my handle. Just want to make sure I'm under the plunger so I'm not pushing at a weird angle. And again, just push down easy. Let the press do the work. And it didn't go too far. A lot of it is just, the first press is just taking up all of the volume of that Teflon tape and squashing it. So what I'll do now is I'll take this off. I'll take my pusher out. Again, it kind of took all the Teflon tape off the top of the ring. So what I'll do is I'll wrap this little guy here around and around. And what I found with these aluminum push rods, without wrapping them, I don't hurt the ring, but what I noticed on my push rods is that I have a lot of these reeded edges kind of pressed into them. So in the interest of preserving my push rods, I switch that around a little bit. Okay. So now I'm going to press down with this. Everything looks level, everything looks even. I'll lean on it. Alright, that's taken a little bit of an effort, so I might be time to anneal. So, and I'm also just about at the bottom of that. So, let me take just a quick peek at the size. I'm still about a 14-ish. And what I'll do is I'll take the next push rod and the next size smaller push rod and finish that up. Let's see. Okay. Sorry about that delay. As you can see, this stuff sticks to your fingers and it's a nuisance a little bit, but the result will be a great coin with no mars, no dings, no this, no that. So it's worth the effort. Some people use a small nylon washer as well to, on top of this. Matter of fact, I have a couple that I used, but one got damaged in the process, so now I'm kind of a little bit leery to use that. We'll pop this in the... Let me give myself a little bit more height. I'll just push down. Alright, let's take this out. Alright, so now we'll see how the Teflon is really protecting the lettering. You can see it through the tape. We've got a really nice uniform cone shape going here. Let's get this excess off. But what I will probably do is I'll just, let me see what size we're at. At about, on the smaller side, 13. Okay, my lettering looks good, my reeded edge looks good. You can see this is the edge I was talking about. Kind of, let me point at it for you. Right in here. That's pretty thick. So once I get it around size 11, I'm going to take my deburring tool, get rid of a lot of that, so that it's more uniform. So what I'll do now is, actually, I think I'm bottomed out on this die. Yep. I'm going to go to the next smaller die, which is the one I was using as a stand. I'll wrap it up again, and I think one more press will likely do it. So let's see what we've got here for the Teflon tape. Where's the ring? There we go. Okay. I'll just fold it over the reeded edge. Now, I haven't used this die yet today, so I will lube it up. Again, it's nothing fancy, just like everything else. The slipperier, the better. Alright, let's get some of this off. Again, we'll just slide it in the die as level as possible. Okay. Use one as a stand. And let me find which push rod will be the correct diameter. Okay, that one looks good. You can see it looks a little cockeyed, so I'll just give it a little there. Now, let's get on with pressing it. I guess I'm going to need a taller push rod. Alright, again, it just goes down easy at first as it smushes those. The Teflon, and then I need to lean on it a little bit. Again, my seating position is probably what's causing the need to lean on it like that. But you can see now we're getting nice and small. You know, maybe I didn't want to go that small, but we'll soon see. The detail is being preserved with this Teflon tape. Alright, now I'm at a size 12.5. And the bottom is about 11.5. So you know what? I think I will go down on this die just a little bit more. Yeah. Okay. You find the right push rod. That one's a little too narrow. This one looks good. Okay. Let's wrap this up a little bit. Again, because the Teflon tape's coming off of the reeded edge with all the pressing. But no fear, we just do this and we're good to go. Alright. Now I'll give it one more press. Make sure everything is level to the extent possible. And then we'll lean on this a little bit. Okay. Now that looks good still. Okay. Okay, now we're at a size 11-ish. And on the bottom I'm at a size 11-ish. So what I'm going to do is actually flip this sucker over, put it back in that extrusion die, and push that end down. Now I've got plenty of tape on there, and I can use a pretty wide push rod. Push that cut edge. Okay. Just kind of size it that way. And again, it should go down pretty easily. And I can watch it in these shallow dies and I can really see what's going on, which I like. So you can see it's starting to take shape here. And I might be approaching that size 11. Yeah, so what I'm going to have to do is I'm going to unwrap this and anneal this. You know, I'm probably adding a couple extra steps, but I don't like how this has a little bulge in. So what I'm going to do is anneal this, bring it all up to size, and then just down to size 11. So, hold on. Okay, we're back at the ring stretcher. And actually my plastic is holding up pretty well, so I'm going to rewrap the ring sizer. Pop this down on it. Oops, I need to go up a little bit more. Yeah. As I said, some people use shop towels, cardboard, plastic bottles. It's really whatever you have handy and whatever, you know, whatever you feel like it. Again, I wear a glove because I get a better grip on it. And I'll just stretch this out. Now I'm at a point here where this edge inside, and it's hard to see on the video, this edge right here, the inner edge, is getting kind of thick and in the way. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use my deburring tool. Again, this was just at the hardware store. Home Depot has them. And you can buy blades that are replaceable. And I use these a lot on clad coins, or and on silver. You know, one would last forever because it's really not too rough. So I'm just going to take quite a bit of material off of here. Let me adjust this so that you can see. So we'll just have at it. And you just go around and around. Now, since I know I'm applying a little bit different amounts of pressure, you know, as my hand goes around and around, I kind of rotate the ring with this hand so that I try to stay even. And again, I don't want to go so far in that I affect this lettering. So you got to be careful. You want to take out some material, but you don't want to take out, you know, what the whole ring is about, the lettering. So it's pretty soft metal, so it goes pretty easily, and I can feel that that ridge is coming down. So I'll just do a little bit more. And again, that's just a function of these big 1 ounce rounds. Some of them have very heavy edges, and I've seen some folks that'll take a Dremel tool and do this. I personally don't have enough control with my Dremel tool yet, mainly because I haven't used it much. But I really like this deburring tool because I can keep myself from getting in trouble just by watching the blade. And again, wearing a glove on this hand is helpful because this thing is sharp, and if you slip, you know, take a nice chunk of skin out of your hand. And if you have to go to the ER, you know, I also have the old safety glasses on, because keep in mind, one trip to the ER, your copay is around $250. So whatever you made on this ring, if you're selling it, you know, you've lost if you go to the ER with a deep gash in your hand. So, you know, an ounce of prevention. Okay, so that's working out pretty good. And it's really mainly just for comfort. I mean, I could just say, hey, that's the edge, make it a size 11, boom. But, you know, you want this to feel good when it's on someone's hand. All right, so that's reduced down pretty good. So now what I'd like to do, let me see what the size is that I've gotten this to now. All right, so I'm at about 11.5. I'm going to go on the ring stretcher a little bit more and bring this up to about a 12.5, 13, because then I want to expand the whole ring and then crunch down the edges to make it look like a nice ring. So my plastic is still hanging in there. So let's see. All right. And what's funny is it's on the pullback stroke that you get most resistance. So sorry about the earthquake vision on the camera. Now what I've been doing all along too, as I've worked this ring, I've made sure that this bottom edge, the cut edge, has been, you know, I've been looking at it quickly to make sure no tears or what have you have developed, because those can turn into splits in the ring. You certainly don't want that. But I've seen videos where people are sanding along the way. You know, I can have been visually inspecting mine and I haven't noticed anything. So where there are no issues, you don't need to do anything. But just to be on the safe side at this point, I'll give it a little sand with some, this is 320 sanding sponge. Again, with silver, it doesn't take much to sand away. Okay, so now let's see what we're at size-wise. All right, I'm at a 12.5. And on this end, all right, goes up to 13. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to wrap this again, put it in the extrusion die, and push it down, to get to my size 11. I'm at a size 12.5 right now, so that should be pretty good. And you can see my shape is uniform, so as I reduce the top down, I should get a nice coin shape. So I'll meet you over at the press. Okay, we're back over at the arbor press. I'm going to wrap my ring so that I can reduce this reeded edge size down to an 11, and then we'll see what the cut edge wants to do. So we'll go around this about 7 or 8 times. As I'm talking, I'm not counting, so the people watching on YouTube, maybe you're counting and screaming at your computer, you only went around 7 times and you said 8. Alright, I've got that edge nice and protected. That die is too small, so that die looks good. So I'm just going to push it down, and again, that'll bring that edge in for me. Now I happen to have this kind of steel disc which I will use to press it, and that should help me quite a bit keep things level. Alright, let's see. It's kind of like a kid's play set here with all these things stacked on each other, but again, the height of my seat is, let me just go around one more time. Oh, there we go. Alright, get it together. So now I can just press it down, and let's see, that looks good. Let me just give it a press with one of these push rods now that that's a little bit too big. Luckily they come in very in good increments. So if one is too big, this one was just a little too big, this one, the next size, should be fine. And I'm right over the nice flat cut edge. So now I can just give it a little push down. I'm not as experienced as other people. Some people have put marks on their push rods, and they know down to the second mark is a size whatever. I haven't quite gotten to that point, so I'm still kind of, this is probably my 5th of these silvers. But you can see I have some pretty nice straight edges there. It's looking good. See what the size is. And again, I don't mind wasting tape by unwrapping it and rewrapping it if it lets me keep a good eye on it. As you gain experience, presumably you would do that less and less. Alright, so that brings me to an 11.5. And you can see I do still have it slightly wider here than here. So when I go down another half a size up here, that'll make these walls nice and straight. So let me just wrap the edge again. Again, I'd rather take the 2 extra minutes and the 5 extra cents of Teflon tape to just make sure I can take a peek at it. With experience, like I said, some guys just boom and they know, alright, that's always a size 10 or a size whatever. So I'm going to get my push rod, make sure everything is level. At this point I've been doing well, everything's been level, so I don't want to, if you rush and things go sideways, your ring will suffer. Alright, that's too small. Again, they're in such increments that I can easily get just one that's a little bit bigger. I think 12 come in a set for 60 bucks. But for 60 bucks, man, the utility that you gain. Alright. Now, I can tell even in the Teflon that that looks pretty darn good. As far as it's got a slight oval shape, not quite a fat tire, and not quite perfectly straight walls, but that's indeed what the customer had in mind. So let me take a look at the size of that thing. Alright, I'm just under size 11. But what I'm going to do is take a little bit more of this off with the deburring tool, because it's still a little bit more of that edge on there than I would love. So by taking out some more material here with the deburring tool, I might actually bring it up to the size 11 that he wants. So again, I got to be careful not to get into the lettering inside here. I know you can't really see that on the video because of the lighting, but you know, what can I say? Lighting courtesy of Walmart shop lights. Alright, so I'm really getting that. Feels really nice. And again, someone can just put that on. It's going to feel good. It's heavy. I mean, this might not be my personal preference for a ring because they're very heavy. And now you can see I'm right at a size 11. I can't, where's my 11? Right there. Of course, you may not be able to see it, but anyway, size 11. And the walls look nice and straight. Looks good. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to take some of that 320 fine sanding sponge, sand that down a little bit. There aren't really many lines or anything on there, but again, you just want it to be perfect for the wearer. So I'm just going to, you know, the silver is soft, so just 320 is more than, you know, more than adequate for, unless you're really trying to grind it down. If it was uneven or unlevel or the walls were not even, you might take some 80 grit and even it out, or a sanding belt. But for just touch up, okay. Then I might go just a little bit on the edge and the inside to round it out, but trying not, of course, to hit the lettering, just very, very fine. Okay. Same thing with the top. Just in case my deburring tool left any ridge or anything, just a little bit. Again, you don't want to hit that lettering, and you don't really want to wear out. I mean, some people take this reeded edge off, but my customers and I like the reeded edge on because, you know, it was supposed to have been a coin. So what's a coin without a reeded edge? In fact, there's now a vendor online who sells a tool that enables you to stamp a reeded edge even on the cut edge. So I don't know about that because, again, if it's a coin ring from a coin, you have one reeded edge. But, you know, it's like any jewelry. There's endless modifications you can do. So this looks really good. All the detail is preserved inside. I mean, it's a little bit dirty because I've been heating it up and dipping it in water, and it's got some grease and the Teflon, I mean the white lithium grease on it to some degree. So I'm going to bring it over to my other part of the bench and dip it into some acetone to rinse off my fingerprints and grease and oil. So, okay, I'm back at my bench over near the acetone, and I have a little jar of acetone. Again, this is a solvent that'll take out, you know, your grease from your fingertips, grease from the lube that you used for the extrusion dies. It's just a 1 gallon can of acetone. Again, Walmart, $4.50, $5, something like that. And then I have an old can that I used, and when this gets dirty or gets particles in it or whatever, I just pour it into my waste drum here. And but it doesn't accumulate much because as I'm using it, it's evaporating. Now, what I found online, reading the material safety data sheets, is that latex gloves, whoops, that one ripped, so we'll throw it away. Latex gloves are better for using acetone as far as skin protection than the blue and black nitrile gloves. Nitrile is great for a lot of things, but for acetone, it has a quick permeation time and degradation time, whereas latex is relatively impervious. I mean, if you soak your hand in there for an hour, it's going to get through. But for routine handling, or if you're doing a lot of clad coins or silver coins, you know, the state quarters, and you're doing a bunch of them at a time, and you're using a lot of acetone and touching it, you know, you need the better gloves. This is just a one-off, so I'm going to just put it in there, let it sit for, I have an old toothbrush, I can just kind of swish it around. I don't know if the swishing around does anything. And then what I'll just do is take a paper towel, and the gloves is not only for the acetone so it doesn't get on my skin, but also so now as I handle it and I'm going to apply the patina, my fingerprints are not getting on the ring and causing maybe an uneven adhesion of the patina or application of the patina. So I'm just going to take it out of the acetone and wipe it off. Don't necessarily have to wipe it off. I could just take it out and let it evaporate. So, and then what I'll do is I'll inspect this reeded edge, the outer edge. And occasionally it'll have imperfections, because even though you're wrapping it and you press, you know, wrapping it and wrapping it, you're pressing it. And these imperfections aren't bad, but when you apply the patina, they'll show up. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take, I don't know if you can see, they're just minor, and they don't, if I just polish this up with a buffing sponge, no problem. Matter of fact, I'll take the imperfections out with this. This is from Sally Beauty. They cost like $1 each. Get them online, Sally Beauty Supply. And they're great for when I do the patina. But they're also great for removing these imperfections. Because again, this is, I think this is 220 grit. So it's a little more than that sanding block. And it'll take these, again, I'm being careful not to get into the lettering. I'm just doing this little edge here because there were some imperfections. And who knows, those might have been from the coin making, the coin producing factory itself. But again, silver is so soft, I'm just putting minor pressure on here, cleaning that up. Again, I just want it to look as good as it can for the customer. You'll notice that the Sharpie is still kind of on there. No problem. As I apply the patina, I'll be using liver of sulfur with this, and then coating with Renaissance wax. You'll see that all taken care of. Alright, that looks really good. And the detail is just really good. Okay, so I'm going to... Okay, we're back here at the patina station. I have my ring. It's been recently dipped and cleaned in acetone. I cleaned up this ridge here. So I'm going to mix my liver of sulfur. Again, I got this gel. It's like $8 on Amazon. You can get it on eBay. And I have my little mixing cup here. Now there's a couple of ways to do this. Some people will put a little liver of sulfur in a container, add warm water so the solution is warm, and that helps with the patina process where you're really just oxidizing the silver, tarnishing it on purpose. Now what I do, since I don't have warm water down here, I'll put a little of this liver of sulfur in the container, and you'll see I'm only doing one ring, so I don't need a lot, just a little, I don't know, you can see on the video, about that, you know, that much, okay. It smells like rotten eggs, so sometimes I'll put my fan on. Now what I do is I just mix it with a jug. I have a jug of distilled water here. I don't think it matters if you have regular water or distilled water. I just happen to buy distilled water at Walmart because it was, you know, whatever, 49 cents. So I'm just going to take an old stick, mix that up. And instead of using warm water, what I will do is I will warm slightly, or maybe more than slightly, my ring, and then dip it in here. Take a look at it. Repeat the process if necessary. I find that sometimes with these silver rings, the first time I dip it in the liver of sulfur, it turns like a copper color. If I wanted copper color, I'd use a copper ring. It's a silver ring, so I want it to look like it's a silver tarnished ring. So what I'll do is I'll take it out, heat it again, and this is just regular water in here. It's water with some baking soda in it. So that'll neutralize the liver of sulfur. So what I'm going to do is take my copper tongs. Just going to take my torch on low. Just kind of heat it up a little bit. So instead of having warm liver of sulfur, I have a warm ring. So again, I don't know if you can see what I'm doing. Just kind of heat it up slightly on a low flame. And then you can hear it kind of quenches in there. So I'll just let that sit for a little bit, a few seconds. Matter of fact, I can take a look at it right now, see how it's doing. You can see it's got like kind of a coppery color. So I'll just leave it in there. And what I will then do, this is my waste liver of sulfur. I can neutralize that and get rid of that at some other point. Alright, so it's been in there for a little bit. And here, since we're going to buff most of that off, that would probably be fine. You know, this amount of darkness. But I like to start out with really dark. So I've put it in the baking soda water to neutralize it. And now that it's dried off a little bit, you can see it's actually kind of a copper color. And I don't want that, because like I said, if I want a copper ring, I'd get a copper coin. So I'll just, again, heat this up slightly. Again, on a low flame, because we're just warming it up. I'm not really annealing it. And you'll notice as I heat it up, the patina actually starts to darken a little bit, almost to the color I want. So then I'll get the top of it, and you can see it's kind of making that patina go away. So now what I'll do is I'll just let it sit in there for, I usually time it for 2 minutes on my phone. I don't know whether 1 minute would be sufficient. I've only tried it with 2 minutes. So I'll come back in 2 minutes. Okay, we've got the coin ring has soaked for a couple of minutes in the liver of sulfur. Let me use my other hand so you can see. See, it's nice and dark. Just what we want. Dip it in the baking soda water solution. Again, I use maybe a couple of tablespoons of baking soda. Or is it baking powder? Hold on one second. Yeah. It's baking soda. You know, again, that's like 15 cents at the store. To about a cup of water. Just mix it around. It just neutralizes it because the liver of sulfur is a slightly acidic solution. So now I've got this patinaed ring. And we're going to go over to my finishing station and we'll remove some of this. And then we'll apply the Renaissance wax. And we'll be all done. So, see you over there. Okay, we're back over at the finishing table. And again, I've got my patinaed silver 1 ounce, don't tread on me coin, formed into a size 11 ring. I'm just going to take this sanding block, which I mentioned earlier in my video. It's a Sally Beauty Supply. What I do is I just pinch the corner. And I'm going to slightly, actually these are wider, so I'll pinch these corners, pop it in that ring, and just twist it around in there a little bit. And that'll remove some of the patina from the high areas and leave the patina on the low areas. So then I go through on this side and give it a whirl. Again, I've kept my gloves on mainly to keep my own fingerprints and stuff off. Plus, I didn't want to get liver of sulfur on my hands, and I'm going to be using the acetone again. So, I don't know if you can see, but you can really see the detail inside that ring has remained. Okay. Now I'm going to scrub off the bottom, the cut edge. I'll scrub off the reeded edge, since that's supposed to be silver. And then what I'll do is I'll just take and hold the ring, nice flat edge of the sanding block. Maybe I'll use a side that's not quite as used up. And then I just go rotate the ring a little bit with each stroke. And again, I'm just going in one direction. then what I'll do is when I get all the way around the ring, I'll take a look at it, see what's what, and then I will, so we still have some patina, you know, we're doing pretty good here. What I'll do is now I flip it over and it kind of hit it from the other angle. And this helps make sure that you're getting the detail, both the upper and lower lettering, kind of the same. You know, again, this is handmade jewelry, so it should not look identical to the last one you just made because it's handmade. It shouldn't look like these are mass-produced in some factory. You know, and again, the value in it is that this is a custom handmade piece of jewelry for the customer. So now I'm going to take it's hard for me to show you, but I'm going to take a look and make sure that my patina is even. And one sure way to tell too is I'll dip it into the acetone, give it a little swish around, be grabbing a paper towel. And now you can see, you know, it really helps that patina pop because we've rinsed away some of the powder. And this will really let me see, you know, where I need to either remove more patina or maybe I'm good. As I said, you don't have to. Alright, that looks really nice. And the inside looks nice. I'm not sure how much you can see on the video because of my lighting angle, but we'll take another quick look at it in a second. So now I'm just looking for kind of uniformity, make sure there isn't anything, you know, again, it's handmade, but I want to make sure there's no glaring error or big splotch of something that I left on. Again, it's not going to be perfect because, you know, handmade jewelry is not perfect. It's important that the lettering looks bold and that the patina accents it. Alright. Now in my stretching process, I've left the detail of the 1 ounce 0.99 fine silver and the word vigilance. The word eternal is not quite as visible. And then the other important part, the price of liberty, is there perfectly. The don't tread on me, and the snake is on there. And the established in 1754 is very clear to see. So what I'm going to do now is let me put away my acetone. Now I have Renaissance wax, which is museum quality wax, which gives a nice durable finish. Helps preserve the patina a little bit. You know, I have mentioned to the customers that these are not rings that you wear to work every day if you're working with your hands and working with shovels and tools. The silver can be soft. Well, it is soft. And if you're, you know, got it on your hand and you're working a shovel or a tool or a wrench or something, it's going to get dinged up. You know, so this Renaissance, you know, so it's meant for, you know, you're going out to dinner, you're going to a party, you're going to relatives, you're wearing it as kind of a, you know, like the same way you would wear a nice watch when you know you're not going to be doing something that's going to beat up your jewelry. But I do put a coating of Renaissance wax on it, makes the patina really pop, gives it some good detail. And it also preserves that patina so that your skin isn't rubbing on the inside of the patina and potentially wearing it off. Again, it's not a daily wearer in most cases, so the Renaissance wax helps a little bit. So I just take a microfiber cloth. You could use a piece of paper towel. You could use, some people I know they've used their gloved fingertip. You know, it's just a wax. Has a little petroleum smell to it. And then it's very simple. You just rub it on the inside. There's no complex procedure for this. And then I'll let it dry for a minute. And then I will buff it off with my jewelry cloth. And then I just rub it on the outside here. And as you're doing it, you know, since it is a little bit wax product, it really gets that patina to be contrasting. I don't know if you can see it on the video, but it really looks good. So I'll set it down for a second. Then I'll take my regular silver jewelry polishing cloth and buff that out. Okay. So I'm just going to throw it on my jewelry cloth and rub the inside and the outside at the same time. Again, it's not complicated, just smoothing it out, so to speak. Okay, so that looks really good. So I think the customer will be happy with that. Now what I'm going to do is, remember at the beginning of this came in a really nice case, you know, but the silver round fit in there nicely. But I want the ring to fit in there nicely, and you can see it doesn't. So what I'm going to do is set my ring aside. I will take a small screwdriver and pry this up, take the foam piece out, and I hit that with a heat gun, and it forms to the shape of a ring as I press the ring in there. So I will go do that, and I'll be right back. Okay, now to make this silver round holder work with the ring, I'm going to use my heat gun set on 7 or 8 out of 10. I'm just going to aim it at this plastic. If I see, I'll just wave it at it and kind of keep pressing at it with my finger. And eventually it'll push down, and I'll be able to put my ring in there nicely, and it'll close. It won't look perfect, but at least it gives the customer, you know, a nice box to keep it in. Now if you just buy these silver rounds online, you know, I forget what the pricing is on them. When you add this, it adds like $8 or $10 to the price of the round, depending on where you buy them from. But for something that's going to be, you know, kind of kept in a jewelry area, used occasionally, it's a nice touch. So I'm just going to kind of, this is pretty soft plastic, so if you just put it on high and aim it at it, you're going to melt it and ruin it. So you got to go easy. As I press at it once in a while, I can feel it start to, it gets to a certain temperature, and then all of a sudden it's good to go. So you just got to find that temperature, but you don't want to get too hot, because then it'll separate. It's getting to a point now where I can throw this ring in, and I'll try closing it. You see it fits perfectly. Okay, I'll shut off the gun, the heat gun. Again, those heat guns you get at Walmart, Home Depot, Harbor Freight. So now if I open it up, you know, my ring fits in there pretty well. Okay, again, it's not the perfect shape for the ring, but, you know, it's better than throwing that case away. And then it comes with this. Here, I'll take off my gloves at this point. You know, so now we've got a nice ring. Don't tread on me. It doesn't fit me quite. I guess I'm a 10.5 or so. It's a big, substantial ring. You know, it fits in the container nicely. And then it comes with, again, this little description. So, you know, instead of just a ring, they get kind of a whole thing. Just make sure there's no fuzz in it. So again, presentation is everything. Fits in there nice. Then it comes with this cool box, you know, with a little thing about Ben Franklin and where the "Don't Tread on Me" thing comes from. So again, then I slide it in, close it up. To keep this box nice during shipping, I also put it in the plastic bag that the vendor supplies it in. Again, because it's kind of like a collector's item, so you want to make sure that when the customer gets it, you know, maybe I wouldn't use this bag because it's ripped up. It's kind of crappy, but, so, you know, they're paying a substantial amount. You know, this isn't a $30 state quarter ring. You know, these you know, I've seen them online for $80, $90, $100, $125. So when you pay 100 and something bucks for something, you want to get something substantial. So this certainly fits that bill. So if you have any questions, certainly put them at the after this video, and I'll try and get back to you as soon as I can. And thanks for watching.